Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I just wanted to come down as a Black queer Christian and talk about the experiences of my religion. Because quite frankly, I'm sick of people using Christianity as an excuse to discriminate against LGBTQ people. My church is affirming. My pastor, who stood up here and praised over this body, is a queer Black man. If anything were to happen to my family when I was growing up and I had to go in a foster family, I would want to ensure that that family respected who I was as a queer Black woman. There is nothing wrong, and there are churches who support queer people. And I'm only going to speak for my faith as a Christian. It is not okay to say or to think that all Christians are anti-LGBTQ, or that bringing a young queer person to a church is anti-LGBTQ. It is not. But what is true is that LGBTQ people are more likely to think, young people are more likely to think to commit suicide because of the hateful rhetoric they hear about who they are every single day. That is wrong. This bill says that young people who are queer deserve the right to be in a household that is not going to tell them they should hate themselves because they are queer. That is the right thing to do. That is the right thing to do. In fact, the majority of Christians actually also believe that young people should grow up in affirming households. In fact, there are more young people today who identify as LGBTQ than they do Republican. That's a fact. What this bill does that we're arguing about says that our young people who are in foster homes should have freedom from discrimination or harassment on the basis of actual or perceived race, ethnic group, national origin, religion, sexual orientation, gender identity, gender expression, mental or physical disability, marital status, familiar status, source of income, military status, or HIV status. So I'm sorry, are you saying that of all of those protected statuses that LGBTQ should not be, and that they should be placed in homes where they will be discriminated against and harassed? No, absolutely not. That is unacceptable. And I don't care what amendment comes to the floor, if it has anything like that in there, I hope that this body would oppose it with full force. The bill also goes on to say that freedom of thought, conscience, culture, and ethnic practice and religion, including the right to attend or refuse cultural, ethnic, and religious services and activities. That is a right afforded upon LGBTQ youth in the foster care system. It's also a right occurred upon all of us by the U.S. Constitution. Do we oppose that too? Do we oppose freedom of religion in the U.S. Constitution? Or is it just for foster youth who are queer that don't get that protection? Because that's what that would mean if we take that provision out of this bill. If you oppose this bill, it's fine, but please do not pretend that all Christians do. Because as a Christian who is Black and queer, and I'll keep saying that, my church, myself, supports LGBTQ youth. My church, myself, supports LGBTQ youth living and thriving and not being subject to discrimination or harm simply because of who they are or who they are perceived to be. This bill just protects our youth. It is way beyond LGBTQ equality or issues, but I tell you what, if we say that all youth, except for LGBTQ youth, deserve to be protected in a foster care home, we are not doing the job of the people of Colorado and protecting all of us. So I ask you, which part of me should be allowed to be discriminated against in this state? The Black part, the queer part, the Christian part, female part? Which part? Which part of our young people in this state deserve to have discrimination and harassment in their homes? The racial identity, their sexual orientation, their gender? Which part? their mental health abilities, their disabilities? Where should we be allowing discrimination? In places that we are funding. Which part is the state going to sanction? This bill says no. We will not sanction that type of discrimination. That's what I say too. And it's my hope that this body appreciates the work of the bill sponsors, affirms the identity of the LGBTQ members here and in Colorado, supports this bill, and resists any type of amendment that even purports to say that Christian identity is being attacked by this bill, because my Christian identity is being affirmed in this bill. Any part of any amendment that says it's okay to discriminate against LGBTQ people, young people, our most vulnerable people, it is not okay. And I hope that this body would oppose any type of amendment that says that too. And in the future, I would like to put on record that disparaging my religion should not be allowed on this floor.